this meeting to order at 6:46. Dr. Roche, can I have a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Here.
Mr. Schmidt,
Here.
and Commissioner DeVoe.
Here. All right, with that, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 231, New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the giving of notice to the Courier News, posting the agenda in the public lobby of the building 48 hours prior to the meeting, delivery of this notice to the Franklin Township clerk at least 48 hours prior to this meeting, and mailing notice to those persons properly requesting to be mailed notification of meetings at least 48 hours prior to this meeting. With that, do I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes. Do I have a motion to close the meeting for public comments?
No one present. I make a motion to close public comments.
I'll second that.
All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes. Approval of the minutes. We'll be approving the working session monthly board meeting minutes for October. With that, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Abstain. And are there executive session minutes that also have to be approved as well?
Yes.
With that, do I have a motion to approve executive session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Abstain.
Okay.
With that, on to executive summary and professional reports.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Okay. Okay, our legal counsel has continued to work on general issues, meetings, resolutions, public bids, the Marcy Street project closeout issues, the PSC&G land / easement purchase for the Western Canal Pump Station, Cedar Grove development, the Edmonds platform service resolution, the annual sewer rate, and Mercer County and Franklin Township grant application and paperwork. The Marcy Street rehab project, the contractor has recently notified us that he disagrees with our denial, and he's asked for us to schedule a meeting. So authority staff, the attorney, and our engineer will be scheduling a meeting. We discuss it together first, schedule a meeting with the vendor. All the commissioners, I just want to let you know, I added 2 projects to the project board. And they are, I'll talk about them next. The first project I'm adding is the solar/electric vehicle project. That project is not authorized yet, but I put it up there so we can monitor it until it's authorized. But currently, I've asked CME to investigate and research the project. And concurrent to that, the executive director is contacting industry leaders to see best how we can approach it with different options. The second project I added to the board is our finance platform upgrade and migration to Edmunds. That project will be managed by Dr. Roach and myself. Currently, we have engaged the vendor, and the vendor will be signing a project manager, which will be scheduling meetings and trading with us in the future. High Bay Garage, Phase 2, the CDM has received comments from the Somerset County Planning Board and the DRCC, which are currently being reviewed. CDM anticipates replying to those comments within the month of November. CDM also anticipates that all the building permits being received within the month of December of 2023. The Somerset Street Pump Station Rehabilitation, which is a sister project to the Brookline Avenue rehabilitation. For the pump station, notice of award to PSI is being issued. For the construction phase, the DEP comments were received and are currently being reviewed. The next step would be the authorization to advertise for the public bid for construction of that project. Moving on to the Brookline Avenue collection rehab, it is currently in the public bid phase, and we anticipate bid openings to be scheduled November 9th, which is tomorrow. I'm sorry, bid openings are scheduled for tomorrow. All those projects are in the green and within budget. Weston Canal Pump Station rebuild Phase 4. We held a meeting on October 25th with all the stakeholders. We held another meeting on October 31st with DEP and the NJI Bank regarding all our funding and our options. We do have a survey agreement process that is in progress right now. And we also have a second appraisal that is in progress right now. The Commerce Drive Pump Station rehabilitation plans were sent to the authority and they were reviewed, and a meeting was held on November 2nd to discuss those plans in detail. The New Jersey DEP riparian zone mitigation proposal is being submitted to the DEP Mitigation Council. Campus Drive rehabilitation area, the co-op pricing was received at $177,000. I'm sorry, these are, okay, that is true, but I have nothing more to report on that project. And let me just confirm, Will Karosik, do you have anything to add for the Campus Drive project for the last?
We did hear from the contractor. It sounds like he'll be getting out there later this week to start some CCTV work. So that project is moving forward. Scott, anything else you'd like to add?
Just a correction on the pricing. It's 117,000, Joe, not 177.
Okay.
And they will be starting tomorrow. They'll be working Thursday and Friday of this week.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving down to the windows and doors. The windows have been nothing less than a horrific process, but we are getting to the very end. If you don't recall, we had problems with the frames. Then we had problems with the windows. Then we had problems with the repairs, and it just kept going back and forth. But we believe that we're very close for them to concluding their project. Nothing new to report on New Brunswick agreement renegotiations. I will note that we did hold a meeting here at the Sewage Authority. It was an in-person meeting with Commissioner Faruqi, which included both our engineers, me and Scott, and we presented him historical and current high-level overview of our projects. And it was very productive, and clearly Commissioner Faruqi is a valuable asset to the team, and we look forward to continually working on him and drawing value from his work experience as an engineer in this area. So again, Commissioner Faruqi, thank you for jumping in. We definitely identified one project that Commissioner Faruqi is going to be a replaceable asset, and that would be the Western Canal pump station project, which is probably going to be the biggest project in the history of this authority. So
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you. Thanks for the good words. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you for helping us. Okay, I'm going to ask my manager, Scott Nacera, to jump in and give us a quick overview of his operations report, and then I'll conclude with going over my executive director's report.
Thank you, Joe. Just going to give you all a summary of our operations report for October of 2023. I believe everybody should have a copy of that. I just want to note we started and completed this month the full services of all our submersible pumps at all the pump stations, which is a big deal. It's preventative maintenance is what we preach. And we identified some parts that need to be repaired and replaced. They have been quoted, and we're just going to move forward with that, I believe. During that process, we found a pump that had a seal leaking at Hamilton Street pump station. That was brought to our shop, torn apart, rebuilt by our staff, and put back in service. Under Somerset Street Pump Station, during the month, I believe last month we talked about, Joe had mentioned we were going to rework the fence over at the pump station for more security and safety at the pump station site. That has been completed by an outside fence vendor. Our staff performed inspections for 2 warehouses being developed here in the township, as well as some service disconnects for houses that were being demolished. During the month, our crew flushed and cleaned 58,773 feet of various gravity sewers, and they performed 2,800 feet of CCTV inspections of main sewer lines. This work was predominantly done in the North Crossing. Under some miscellaneous, as Joe reported on the projects, miscellaneous, all our staff purchased and retrofitted all the exterior building lights as well as the parking lot pole lights at our office facility to LED, making them a little bit more efficient and brighter. There were no accidents for the month of October, and we had 2 connections for the month of October, totaling to date 60, anticipated for the fiscal year of 2023-2024, 80.3. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Scott. Bear with me 1 second. Okay.
I have a question for Scott.
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
So I'm looking at the report and I see that it says that there were several complaints. The staff responded to several concerns about slow draining sewers. You were able to clear some stoppages using the curbside cleanout. In most cases were found on the resident side of the line and were advised to contact the plumber. So a concern about something like that, a resident would call up and say what, that they can't flush their toilet? What is the concern? I'm curious.
Yes. Yes, so you'll pretty much see that in my report every month because we get those calls all the time. We'll respond pretty quickly, I might add. Different instances, a person says their sewer is draining slow in a sink. Usually it's a slop sink where their washing machine is discharging into. And what happens is the lint from the washing machine clogs usually the P-traps. Cases, older houses, the cast iron traps will start to clog, and there's tuberculation in cast iron pipe, which causes clogging and so forth. We try to help when there's a curbside clean out. When there is no curbside clean out, we can't work on the property or within someone's home. We'll advise them to contact the plumber.
I see.
We
I
always
wasn't sure.
try to help the resident. Always try.
I wasn't sure if it had something to do with the toilet system. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. For the month of October, we received in checks $1,381,571.09. Year-to-date collected $5,204,083.57. We have an open balance for non-metered accounts of $2,914,373.89. For that month, penalties were generated for $12,044.28, which is a little below average. For expense report, as of September 31st, expenditures for the month were $367,474.87, and the year to date is $3,287,464.70. We've gone through 23% of our anticipated budget, and we've gone through 33% of our calendar fiscal year. Our cash position as of September 31st, 2023, under unrestricted, is $1,249,394.62. Under restricted is $14,138,277.04. And under designated is $4,351,029.15. We have a total net cash position of $19,738,700.81. Under discussion items, the user rate increase proposal of last month has been put into effect as of November 1st. Tonight is a resolution to memorialize that. There's nothing particular to note, but I will just note generally our 2023 audit is still in progress. I will also note just generally under Franklin Township Municipality, we still are waiting for the township manager to schedule a meeting with the two agencies to go over projects for possible synergy and overlap. Under internal engineering, we had only 2 connections for the month of October, but we did have 7 projects reviewed with the TRC. Under staffing, I'm happy to report that thanks to the board's authorization, we had hired a new maintenance employee, and that maintenance employee started this week. This is an employee that was working for the Department of Public Works of Franklin Township, and we were able to recruit him and retain him within Franklin Township. And we're very happy that we've done that. We still have open the annual performance review and compensation for the executive director. Hopefully we can conclude that tonight. Under Southbound Brook, I went out of my way to contact Mayor Schaffner, and she was happy to come make a site visit here at the authority, and we were able to give her a tour of our facility, our equipment. She met many of the staff members, and the basic purpose of that to get her familiar with our capabilities, our resources, and our facility, so we can continue having an interlocal partnership with Southbound Brook to the benefit of both the authority and their borough. Under Somerset County grant, I'm going to ask CME and the attorney what the next step is, or if they've asked us for a next step. I know we sent the bid documents to Somerset County. Was there any follow-up or next step with them, or we're just waiting for them?
Yep, my understanding, based on the last discussion we had, is that the next step is for the contract to be awarded, and then they'll require the executed contract. Brian Hack, is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly where we are, Will.
Okay. And the next one would be the municipal grant from Franklin Township. We sent them our paperwork and we signed the agreement with them. Is that correct?
The paperwork was sent to them. I'm not sure off the top of my head if the agreement was signed, but I know that they are also waiting on that executed contract.
Did we sign that agreement they sent over to us?
Yes, I believe that Chairwoman Ford signed that.
Okay, good. So I think we're just waiting for money now. That's a good place to be. It's like $5 million. Ching, ching. Under bankruptcy, we got notice that Rite Aid has filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy case. Should not affect us, but we only have one Rite Aid location in our town, and they're just restructuring their debt and how they fund it and pay it. Unlike everywhere else in town, our sewage service is a relation between us and the tenant, which happens to be Rite Aid under this agreement, and not the building owner. So I signed that to the attorney, and we didn't see any problem with agreeing to their bankruptcy filing, their bankruptcy plan. Okay, under shared services, Franklin Township, unfortunately, they did not give us any heads up that they are upgrading their radio trunk system that DEP uses, the fire departments use, and the sewage authority uses. So we were coincidentally, I believe, given notice that, hey, by the way, we're upgrading our system and none of your radios will be working after February. So that means we have to upgrade our radios and our radio system as well. Scott, of course, went the whole 9 yards on this, and he is researching what it'll cost us, timeline, the steps, and he's communicating with the Officer Brian Farrar is managing it. You know, we don't know why they didn't tell us, but the big deal to us why that they didn't tell us is because we just concluded our annual budget. And for us to buy radios, especially we're estimating it's going to cost us $45,000, that should have been in our capital budget, and it's not. So either we have to do an emergency capital budget amendment to our budget, or we just don't pay the township for this until next cycle. I think, Brian, you can correct me. I think that those are our two options, right?
That's correct, Joe.
All right. Look at me. I got lucky on that one.
But wait a minute. So you can operate without radios?
No.
There's no impact on your operation?
So our two options, one, are the following. If we want to pay for these radios now, we could do that, but I have to modify our budget. So I have to send an amendment to the state. They approve it because we already sent our budget to the state and the public. and we don't want to make changes to that. But you're allowed to make amendments. So there are requirements to that: public notice, public meeting, the state auditor, looks at it, improves it, etc. That's why we put in more in our capital budget than we're going to do, in case we want to do it. It's better to be in there than not be in there. The other option is we have the township buy the radios and go through the expense for us, and then we just cut them a check next budget cycle, because then we'll put it in that next budget for that cycle.
Either way, you're gonna need the radios. That was my question.
Yeah, we have absolutely.
Okay.
Joe, if I may, just real quick interject. So since we last had our conversation, I did get final pricing from Motorola, and it's almost double the price that you and I spoke about of the 45,000, which is very upsetting, first of all. Second of all, we would have to purchase the radios directly from Motorola, who is under state contract. So it's a state contract, but it's a very costly project. So I wanted to get together with both Joe and my foreman Steve and see how maybe we can minimize that cost and get basically the minimum amount of radios that we need to operate. $83,000 is a pretty big nut to swallow. So have a discussion and talk about.
Why do I have 45,000? Where did I get that number from?
So the only basis I can go off of when we had our conversation was what we bought the radios for back in 2012, until I got new pricing. So the pricing is double. Don't forget, our staff has grown since 2012, as well as inflation costs.
So all right, because in your email you said my guess this would be somewhere up around 35, 45,000.
Exactly that, a guess. I had no hard numbers until I just got them.
Okay. All right. So 80,000 is an updated number.
Correct.
Which is all right.
Very upsetting.
Well, one thing I can tell you is that I do sit on a finance subcommittee for the township, and the radio system that we currently have is at end of life. We don't want to spend the money either if we didn't have to upgrade. So they're forcing us to upgrade, and it's a huge expenditure. What I'm hearing here is that I didn't know other people were dependent on the radio system too. I thought it was ours.
Yeah, so all the departments, DPW, county, everybody's on that trunk system.
Right.
Yeah. Rescue squad.
Yeah, but I thought it was all municipal. I didn't realize that the sewage authority was on there too.
Yeah. All right. Jumping down to votes. So tonight we need a vote on the grinder bid authorization. So the grinder is on co-op, but Scott feels that we would get a better price if we go out to public bid. The estimated cost will be around $85,000. It is in our budget, but we're looking to save money. So he wants to go through a public bid and let it compete. So when I'm done listing these things we got to vote on, the chairwoman, you can decide if you're going to vote on them. All right. That's number one. Number two, PSC&G easement survey request for authorization for CME to perform that work at the cost of $16,700 and change. That should be in your paperwork. This basically is a survey project. It's a sub project where they go on the property. They're doing a complete site survey, which they have a signed agreement with PSC&G to allow them to come on the property. And that costs about $16,700. The next one is authorization for to move forward on the building surge protection. And I'm going to ask that the authorization to be not to exceed $20,000. We think it's going to be 17,000-ish around there. So just give me up to $20,000, which would be fine. The reason why we're moving this, once again, the building got hit by lightning, and not even directly. The building it's the radio tower that got hit by lightning, and it arced over to the building and ruined electrical devices, i.e. computers and other things. So the building needs surge protection, especially with all the equipment in there. The next one is authorization for Shirley Avenue Pump Station scope, which is also in your paperwork by CME, and that's 27.6 thousand and change. That's an authorized and active project right now, but CME, like on all projects, need to do the initial scope of the work. And then the last one is the radio system upgrade to go out to bid for that, which is estimated to be around 80,000. Grinder bid. Oh, you know what? I know what I did. Scott, the 45,000 at first was not the radios, that was the grinder. You think the grinder will be about 45,000?
No. The grinder should be about 73.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know how I confused that one. Okay, well, it's a lot of authorizations this month. Usually we get 0 or 1. Now we have a lot. All right, so Chairwoman, you want to go one by one? Grinder authorization to go out to bid for the grinder?
Yeah, we can go one by one.
Does everybody know what a grinder is? Basically, the sewer pipe comes into the wet well, and there could be solids like wipes or rags, and before it goes into the water and into the pump and messes up the pump, it goes through a grinder that just grinds it down. But they're a necessary, integral part of a healthy operating system. So, and this is in our budget. So we just want to go out to bid instead of going to co-op.
Okay. Would you like to do that after the committee reports so we can go one by one for each authorization?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. And then the last item on my report would be closed session, and I don't know how you want to handle it or etc. I'm assuming you want to go into executive session, so that's your prerogative.
Okay.
I just have a question. Where are all these authorizations? Or is this on a document? I'm trying to follow along.
It's not on document, but the supporting, you should have the supporting stuff in your packet. Well, I'm sorry, not for all of them. The first one, the grinder, I don't know if you have that. Yeah, you don't need it.
That's on your executive director's report. I see that one. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's in the budget, grinder.
Yeah, I see it. Mm-hmm.
So going to public bid is the safest and traditional way of purchasing. PC&G survey, that should be in your packet. That's from CME.
Oh, okay.
You're just voting on it because it's so actually PC&G, since it's under 17,000, it's really within my authority to just do it. But just vote and say yes. Authorization for building surge protection. See, that's new and it's just beyond my authority, so I need your permission.
Mm-hmm.
An authorization for Shirley Avenue Pump Station. That's been an authorized project, but we haven't begun it. So we're paying CME to scope the project, and based upon that scope, you're going to authorize the project or not. But we have to do this little piece before you'll have all the information to formally authorize the project.
Joe, is the surge protection for the building that you're in right now?
Scott?
Yes, the surge protection is going to be for all 4 buildings on site, all 4 buildings.
So I think, Joe, I thought I heard you say that, when the lightning struck, it knocked out computers. Did it destroy computers? Did those computers have to be replaced?
Yeah.
Scott's computer had to be replaced.
So the lightning strike affected the operations building in the back. But if we're going to go through surge protection, we might as well protect all buildings.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was just wondering how much damage was done. So it was just your computer that was affected by it?
Yes, it was computers, monitors, our camera system, security camera system in the back, DVD player for the camera system. So many components in the maintenance garage.
Okay.
It's since
Thank you.
been repaired or replaced.
Okay. That concludes my reports, Chairwoman.
Thank you, Executive Director. Moving on to committee reports. Is there anything to report in the Negotiations and Personnel Committee?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Municipal Liaison?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Construction Committee?
No, I don't have anything.
Thank you. And Safety, Scott, no accidents for this month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. With that, moving on to the consent agenda. April, I'm working from an old, I think I downloaded an older agenda. So for the additional authorizations and the additional resolutions, would you be able just to run those down?
Yeah, so, right. Under standard resolutions, we're doing all of them except for there's no North Track. For the additional resolutions, we are doing a resolution advertising bids for the grinder. We are a resolution to approve the calendar 2024 meeting dates. Resolution to authorize the developer's agreement for block 530.04, lot 4.01. We're doing a resolution to memorialize the approval for the second appraisal for the PSC&G property. Resolution authorizing the write-off on account 19279.00 due to the bankruptcy settlement. Resolution modifying the rates, which were effective November 1st, 2023. And the last resolution is authorizing agreement for temporary employment services.
Okay, great. Thank you. With that, the consent agenda, all items that are listed are considered to be by of routine nature, thereby requiring one motion. 1 second. Sorry, a little rusty. If any member wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda, please advise me at this time which resolutions need to be handled separately, and they will be addressed and voted on separately. With that, for the consent agenda, do I have a motion to move?
Motion? Make a motion?
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes. With that, for the additional resolutions, April, can you read off the additional resolutions, and then I'll ask for a motion.
Okay. Resolution number 11082023 2023-8-6. It's a resolution approving the advertisement for the receipt of bids for a Taskmaster grinder model TM14032D to be purchased on a proprietary basis.
With that, do I have a motion?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
Resolution number 11082023-7, resolution approving the dates and times of the 2024 monthly board meeting during the year on the first Tuesday of the month, unless otherwise specified.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
Resolution number 11082023-8. It's a resolution authorizing the execution of a capacity allocation and developers agreement with the developer of real property designated as Block 530.04, Lot 4.01 on the official tax map of Franklin Township, Somerset County, New Jersey.
Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
I have a question on this. Maybe this has been explained before, but can you explain what capacity allocation and developers on-track and off-track agreement is?
A fancy word for the long wording for the developers agreement. The developers agreement will describe the connection that we're making to them and their obligations and our promises and obligations and the standards and costs and so forth. Part of that is the allocation that, for example, if they're building 38 homes, we're going to agree to provide a sewer service at an allocation of 38 homes. The sewage flow of that, and we're also representing to them that we can handle the allocation of flow as described in that agreement.
Good, understood. Thank you, Joe.
Got it.
Resolution number 11082023-9. This is a resolution authorizing the executive director to obtain a second appraisal for the evaluation of an easement to be potentially acquired from Public Service Electric and Gas Company, PSC&G, for the Weston Canal Pump Station project.
With that, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 9.
I'll make a second on that, but I don't believe we approved motion, resolution number 8. I don't think we voted on it.
Well, we didn't. There was a motion and a second in the question,
Yeah.
but we didn't.
Right.
Roll call for resolution number 8.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes. And then for resolution number 9, I believe Commissioner Francois made a motion and Commissioner Schmidt made a seconded a motion. So with that, a roll call for number 9.
Absolutely. Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 11082023-10. This is a resolution authorizing a write-off to account number 19279.00 in the amount of $596.50.
Do I have a motion? A motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 10.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
Resolution number 1108-2023-11. This is a resolution modifying the annual sewer service charges to residential and non-residential customers to be effective November 1st, 2023.
A motion?
Second.
Motion to approve.
Right, roll
Second.
call.
Who made the motion?
I think I did.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Okay, and the second?
Commissioner Farugi.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 1108-2023-12. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with ADO Personnel Services Incorporated, doing business as LHH, for temporary employment services.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, so
Was there a first?
there was
No, first.
so who's the first?
Commissioner Schmidt, do you want to be the first to do a motion?
Sure. Motion?
And Commissioner Farugi with the second.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Farugi,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVoe.
Yes.
That concludes the additional resolutions.
Thank you, Dr. Roach. With that, I believe we're moving into executive session, if nothing else.
Joe, did you have any more that you needed to vote on? Or we're good with the resolutions as presented?
Nope, we've covered everything.
Good.
What are we going into executive session for?
Personnel?
Personnel? Okay. So we'll let the record reflect that we're going to the board will be going into executive session to discuss personnel items.
Okay. Who motioned?
With
Thank you.
that,
Make a I'll second.
Motion to go into executive session.
okay. Motion from Commissioner Francois and seconded by Commissioner Schmidt.
Okay.
Oh, we did it backwards again?
Yes.
I thought I heard a first before me.
Everybody's tired.
All right. I have 7:34. We're going into executive session.
Okay.